Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Happy Monday morning. Happy bank holiday Monday morning. I hope we're all okay. I hope we're all right. I hope the weekend's treated you all quite well. Obviously, plenty of football on this weekend. So I hope you managed to get down and watch some good football. And watch, I saw the Joel Linton clothesline on the keeper. That was mental. But in this video, more importantly, we're talking about Manor Solomon's we'll call it a projected move to Leeds, as there might have been a few bumps in the road. Alongside that, when we talk about Sergio Reguilón and a move, we're going to be, in general, on top of that, talking about what I'm hoping for the rest of this sort of week leading into the final days of the transfer window, what Spurs need to do with their outgoings, what Spurs hopefully could do with their incomings. So there's plenty to talk about and there's plenty to get into. Just want to say that if you're watching this and you're new, subscribe. You're very much welcome to join us for the journey. And apologies if I sound a bit ropey. It's been a heavy couple of days of enjoying myself. That's the way I'll sum it up. Obviously, I was at Wembley yesterday for AEW All In. That was a good little show. I will be putting out a video on the second channel for that, of sort of the day, my predictions, what I got right, what I got wrong. So there's a few things I got right, more than I thought I would, but I did get a lot wrong, which is probably what I expected. So that'll be out on the second channel in the next day or two. Morning, Spurs. KL. Morning. Morning, EZ. Listen, how are we? Finley, Sonia. Morning, all. Morning, all. I hope we are okay. You missed the Daniel Bryan swerve match. Who won? Well, I say Daniel Bryan. Brian Danielson. It's BD. Brian Danielson won. It was a banger. Absolute banger. Hey, Robert Van Gogh. How are we all? Yeah, I enjoyed myself. It was a long day, though. It was a long day and probably enjoyed one too many beers. But hey, we move on. So let's talk about Manor Solomon. So give you a quick backstory first before I tell you the new update. Manor Solomon, we talked about a few days ago. Interest from Leeds United. They'd made a offer of a loan. Chat about, medicals and things like that. And it came from Shea Lagasse. So actually, it wasn't Paul O'Keefe, because actually Paul O'Keefe did give the credit to Shea Lagasse, who's actually, I think he works for like Barca Times or something. So it's not even like it's like a main source, but actually he was right. And he was on this ahead of everyone. And so major Manor Solomon update saying the move to Leeds United is not certain. Solomon has completed the medical tests, but there are quite significant financial differences between the clubs. Talks continue between the parties. The players' camp also does not rule out additional options before the window closes. So, by the sounds of things, the formalities of medicals and things like that, they got done, but financially there must be a few issues. Is it a loan fee that maybe Spurs don't like, or the way it's supposed to be paid? Is it a wage sort of structure of how much they pay, how much maybe we pay for the loan in terms of the weekly contract amount? Not too sure. But by the looks of things, I don't think we should panic on this. I know a lot of people go, you're going to get a lot of people go, oh my God, just get rid of him. And it's like, okay, calm down. We will get it. I mean, it says it's not certain. Okay. So it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. He's completed the medical test. That's always a good sign. Significant financial differences between the clubs. I mean, it says significant, but it's probably one of those that can be it can be ironed out quite quickly. So, for me, I don't think it's anything to be concerned. But the fact is, ruling out additional options, that means there's a real market for him. So I think that's the other thing as well. And I said this, there was Premier League clubs that are interested in him, but evidently Leeds had moved quite quickly on him. I also said he's probably too good for the Championship. He's a Premier League player in my eyes. He is. I looked at like Joe Rodon last year at Leeds, and I was like, he's good enough to be in the Premier League. So the fact that, obviously, yes, we got Archie Gray, and Joe Rodon was a big part of that deal. It was still a good pickup for Leeds to get him in permanently. When I look at some of the other the sort of clubs that might be interested in him, you'd think the teams coming up would be quite keen. Proven Premier League player, because everyone would think about his time at Spurs, but at Fulham, proven Premier League player, really solid. You know what you're going to get out of Manor Solomon. It's just the issue at Spurs, and I think a lot of people go, why are we moving on from him? Obviously, squad-wise, obviously, we might need the spot, but we also won't be able to give him those regular minutes that he's going to need to get his match fitness, but not only that, his match sharpness back, because he's been out for so long. It's not something that comes back overnight. You know, it needs regular minutes, regular game time, and it's one of those things. So it makes sense, obviously, the loan deal. I still think he will go out on loan. I'm not panicking about it. We've still got a few days. Exactly. Let me just double check. When does the transfer market end? Or transfer window end? So we got 4 days and 12 hours, just under 4 days and 12 hours now. So it's the 30th of August at 11 p.m. UK time. So we might be busy on the 30th of August. We might be busy. I mean, what is that as a day? Hang on. Calendar. Friday at 11 p.m. So we might be busy on Friday night, depending if Spurs are busy themselves, you know, which I hope they are, which I'm going to come to in a minute. But yeah, again, I'm not panicking about Manor, you know. If there's going to be one sign, it looks like it's going to be like Odebear one out of thin air, potentially. Financial differences, you don't say. I know, right? Next guy's one heck of a lucky guy because his legacy number is going to be 888. Yeah, it will be, actually. I noticed that. Good shout there, Van Gogh, mate. Did I see Madueke versus Wolves? Frightening. For a guy who said how much he hated Wolves, he then went and slapped them with a hat trick. That's top tier. That's top tier kind of stuff. I see the Scarlet loan is going well. Any minutes for him again, seems we can never get his loan right. Well, it's early doors. It is early doors. Let's just wait and see how that develops. You know, we had other guys go out on loan who started to pick up more and more time as time went on. It's early doors. Morning, the Big D. Why we sign Werner and pay a monthly fee for him when Solomon is there? I think I'd prefer Manor to Timo. It's what Ange thinks and wants, you know. I had to look up number 888, didn't know what it meant in the superstitious world. Yeah, I'm not very good with superstitions and things like that. And, you know, what people like and don't like. You know, I didn't realize like 11 hours, 11 minutes was a thing of like we can like wish on something. It's all confusing to me. Horoscopes and things like that, I don't believe in either. It really means nothing to me in the nicest way. It means nothing to me. But if it means something to you, that's up to you. Moving very much on. We're going to talk a little bit about Sergio Reguilón. So, quick backstory again on Sergio Reguilón. Obviously, we have known about Sergio Reguilón having interest from quite a few teams, but he is also holding out for a European club, which I get. You know, I'd much rather play for a European club than, you know, not playing for one. But it was always a wonder who that European club might be. I was thinking of back in Spain who would take him, but I'm not too sure. You know, there's talks about obviously Dortmund last January, but obviously they went for Ian Maatsen. They've not come back in for him. Obviously now Maatsen's at Villa anyway, so there's that. But this coming out from Turkish reports saying Besiktas are showing interest in Tottenham Hotspur defender Sergio Reguilón, which, look, fair enough. I'm not gonna complain about that. I think you're always gonna get European football about you're gonna always get European football when you're in the Turkish league. If you're a Fenerbahce, Besiktas, Galatasaray kind of player, he's probably going to do quite well in a league like that. He's a solid player. I think a lot of people misconstrue maybe what I say about Sergio. He's a solid player, and I said it about people like Emerson and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg and the Skippy. I said solid players, not the level that we need, and that's the fair thing. Højbjerg's good player, doesn't suit Ange. Emerson, brilliant defender, offensively somewhat lacking, perfect for the Serie A. Sergio Reguilón, lots of energy, can't really defend. Probably really good for a league that maybe he's going to be playing against a lot of lesser teams quite frequently. So with that being said, if Spurs can just get a deal where that it's a loan deal, and Besiktas go, look, we'll take his wages for the year, but that's all we really want to do. Done. Yeah, say less. Thank you. Just it's another one that you can say to Spurs can hang their hat on and go, well, look, if you look at it and if you think about it, Spurs have moved off of all these players that maybe they could have got fees for, but they also realised sometimes it's not worth fighting. Just move on because it gives you a lot less work to do. And they could have held out for money on Tanganga or Sessegnon by taking up their options, but they just said, you know what, actually, if we don't do it, 30th of June, when you guys are done, you're done. We don't have to worry about it anymore. Obviously, with other players like Emerson and Højbjerg, where you could get some value, that's a bit different. But those other guys, just move on. Cut your losses. Cut all ties. Means you can focus on everything else, If he's not available, why do we... that wasn't for me, I don't think. How long is Solanke injured? Supposedly, he may be back for next weekend against Newcastle. Obviously, Bentancur may be back, depending on how the concussion situation goes, because we play on the Sunday, don't we? We play Sunday is a 1:30, I think it is, against Newcastle. So there's a potential that he may be back, but if not, he'll be back for the after international break for the North London derby. Milan, he might be back. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Van Gogh even answered it for me. I should have looked at the comments. He answered it for me. So yeah, I want to talk about really now, because bear in mind, we've got 4.5 days left of this transfer window, okay? 4.5 days. What do Spurs have to do? Okay. And let's start with the outgoings. I think they're the easy ones. So I think we can kind of get them out of the way and then prophesize what maybe the incomings may need to look like. Outgoings wise, look, we just talked about Manor Solomon with Leeds. I think he'll still get a move. I'm not really worried about that. Reguilón, obviously we talked about Besiktas. We talked about other teams as well, but today we've talked about Besiktas. Again, it's another one of those that if we do move him on, another tick in the box. With all those guys, and you got to think next summer, by the way, he's done. There's no more years left on that contract. So he's another one that next summer they can kind of go, it's another one gone completely, perfectly, brilliant. Move on. Obviously, the big really one for me after that is Lo Celso. That's the big one for me. Because I think there's probably actually some value you can get out of that. I'm not sitting there, you're going to make 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 million. But you can make a few quid out of that one. And I still see Lo Celso moving on. Now, if it means a situation we have to keep him, then obviously it's a bit more difficult, a bit more technical. But I do think Lo Celso will move on. I think there's a player there that has interest from other teams. I'm all for it personally. But those three are the three that you can expect to move on. Yes, there may be a loan deal here and there for players. But in terms of like the first teamers, Solomon, Reguilón, and Lo Celso. I'm throwing Reguilón in there. I know he's not a first teamer, but those three will be the three that we're going to move off of. Then obviously you have a situation where Spurs have cleared out. If you think about it, moving off the players that we have moved off of, 10 out of 10 for outgoings. Departure wise for a window, 10 out of 10. You can't complain about that. It's incredible. We held on to it. I say held on like it's like we were going to lose our best players, but we kept all the best players. We moved off of a lot of players that long term aren't going to be here around Spurs. And that's the nicest way to sum them up. Again, like I said, not bad players, just not going to be here long term. And I'd rather a player that's 5-6 years younger, who's going to be here for 5 or 6 years, than someone who maybe for a year or two until we find someone else and then they move. Like you see Berval, Archie Gray, Højbjerg, Skip. For me, that's an upgrade, right? So yeah, I think from there, that's not too bad. Now, looking at the incomings, obviously, that's a sign of the window that we have a lot of question marks, because we can sit here and go, well, we've been interested in a backup goalkeeper. We're interested in left backs and centre halves and midfielders and wingers and all sorts, right? We've been linked with Vanderson at right back, right? It's another one. We've been linked with all sorts. It's obviously very much more difficult this time around than it is previous summer. With previous summer, where Paratici's still kind of lurking around. There's a bit more news in and around the club that we sort of, you can kind of track deals and transfers. Obviously, this time around, it's been very difficult. Obviously, other than maybe Solanke, most of the other deals have been very, very quiet. No one knew about Archie Gray until like the day before his medical. No one knew about Odebert. It was Sasha Tavlieri who knew 15 minutes before it got announced. He was the first one. So a lot of our deals are very quiet deals. Even the outgoings at half the time are so quiet, which, again, it makes it harder for me to create the content side of things, but also it's very exciting when you do kind of get hit with a deal agreed, Tottenham are signing so-and-so. You're like, whoa, okay, that's come out of left field. So I think when I look at it, obviously we've been linked to backup goalkeeper, but I don't see that being something that's going to impact this season. Maybe it's a loan, a buy and a loan option, things like that. So when I look at like actual impact within the first team squad, I'm looking nowhere else but defence at the moment. The defence that we have at the moment, the four that we have, fantastic, zero issues. Well, I say zero issues, not the right word, but I'm not worried about those four. We've got really solid backups, I say backups, rotation options. You know me, I think about rotation options. In a Dragajin for centre half, brilliant. Spence looks like a capable right back rotation option. Left side, the left side of that defense does make me a bit intrigued. Now, for the most part, Ben Davies is pretty solid. If you were playing in like the Europa League, the EFL Cup, that side of things, I think he'd be solid. I think he'd be absolutely solid, no issues. Good on the ball. You're not going to be concerned if he has the ball at his feet. In the Europa League side of things, the competition-wise, it may not be as strong. So you think, actually, he'll be all right. But behind that, there just isn't anything left, is there? There's Spence, I guess, would be the backup left back in theory, or the rotation left back. So you're asking Spence to cover two places alongside Ben Davies and even Mickey van der Ven. So you can see there's a definitive issue on the left-hand side of the fence than it is the right-hand side. Right-hand side, obviously, Dragajin, Romero, Porro, Spence. I'm fine with that. I actually quite like what I have there. Left-hand side, you've got Destiny and Mickey. Love that. Brilliant. Fantastic. Then you've got Ben Davies covering two positions. That's an issue. Obviously, because now Ashley Phillips going out on loan, that's another concern. Alfie Dorrington, what happens there? I guess at the moment, you could probably say he's what? The fourth choice centre half, fifth choice centre half, maybe, if Ben Davies is fourth choice. That's my concern. I'm not as concerned about midfield because of obviously you've got, other than Bentancur, you obviously got a very healthy, fit midfield. You've obviously got a situation where Bergvall and Archie Gray have really come along and shown out and shown that they're pretty decent and they're Premier League players. More than Eric, mate, you're right. So let me see what you guys think. We need at least a dozen new players. Bit much, Jesus. I was thinking, would it be worth a low ball double deal for Chalobah and Chilwell? I'm not as interested in Chilwell, Dean. He feels like a bit like a Reguilón. He can't really defend. And he's injury prone. Chalobah, I do like Chalobah. I think he was probably Chelsea's best defender last year, which is mad. Yeah, they were good yesterday, though, weren't they? Backup left back, backup centre back were good. Then a 6 and new left wing. Then the contenders. It's tough to see where we are. Well, yeah, we're still not a finished product. We still got a lot of issues in the squad that was always going to take multiple windows. It was, people have this idea that Ange's now had a year, so he has to win the quadruple this season, and if he doesn't, he's rubbish. It's like, glad to see you don't live in the real world. Look at the issues that he had from just like look at the squad that was 2 years ago. Look at the squad where it was at the start of last summer where he came in. Look at how much had to be done and look how much has been done, Davies gets so much stick, but he's an experienced defender. Yeah, solid. And like I said, rotation pieces, 2-3-0 up in a game, get Destiny off, bring him on. Perfect, I'm really up for a late last-minute transfer bomber, a big name when there's been no rumours beforehand. We've had a few of those this summer, haven't we? Ben Davies is a future club ambassador. You'd have to think so, wouldn't he? He'd have a job around Spurs, unless he wants to go into coaching, obviously. Don't bring a player in for the sake of it. They have to improve the squad. Agree, Nige. We need left-back depth. We need either left-back or left-footed centre-back who can play left-back. Agree, Alfie, mate. Would you rather sign a natural left-back or a left-footed centre-back? For me, I'd rather natural left-back. I'd rather a natural left back. Because obviously, you've got Dragajin. Ben Davies is solid at centre half. He's solid. He's not going to wow anyone, if you know what I mean, but he's capable. A good set of hands, It's affirmed that Solomon deal to Leeds is off. It's not off, no. Haven't seen anything about deal collapsing. It's not off, but there is monetary concerns, yes, about that. Robertson Fulham would be great. Yeah, he would be great. Not going to happen, but he would be good. I do like him. Solomon has gone, Dean says. Oh, I better double check. I've seen Victor Osimhen news, so I've got that. Don't see anything on Solomon. We saw another winger in pre-season that's coming in Jan. We did. Yeah, we did. A Gavardio type player would be great, but it's a rare profile and an elite level. Well, I mean, Gavardio's also 100 million. So there's that as well, to be fair. I thought Solomon had failed a medical. That's good news. No, yeah, he's completed his medical test. It was about the deal between the two clubs more than actually the player himself, which is nice. It's good for, by the way, it's great for Solomon. Passing medicals, that's always a good sign, you know? Um, but yes, so I think incomings wise, I think, look, there's a situation where Spurs may only bring one more in. If they do, it would be, for me, all right, here we go. You can tell me, obviously, in the comments down below. You can tell me in the live chat today, if you were bringing in a player, one more, just one more, what position would it be? So don't go, actually, he can play 6 right back and centre back. It has to be a centre back, a left back, a CDM, whatever, right? The one position, for me, it's left back. That's the one position that I truly look at and go, if Destiny gets injured, what have we got going on? You know, with Mickey, I go, well, Dragic can play there, or Ben Davies can feature in there, which I'm a bit more confident on. But left back, it does give me a concern. Like, it's just, for me, the way I look at it is look at a player who started last weekend. So if you look at Destiny, Mickey, Kuti, and Porro, if we said, right, all in one game, they all get injured, all 4 of them get injured. What are the replacements looking like? So you're looking at, Dragic comes in, great, right centre back, brilliant, love my right centre back situation. Spence comes in, all right, decent. Yeah, no, I'm not crying about that. That's decent. Then you look at left centre back and go, so I guess that'll be Ben Davies. And then you look at left back and go, then they go, well, then you have to put Jed Spence over there, and then Archie Gray's going to have to go in at right back. And I don't really like that as much personally, you know. He got called up to senior team. Good signs indeed. Listen to Cruzeiro de Neymar. Why should I? Marshall. Davies probably has 1 or 2 decent years left. His best option would be in a back 3. Doesn't suit our system whatsoever. Oh, interesting. Left back, centre back, left back 100%. Like the video, people. Thank you, Marshall. Yeah, like the video if you haven't already. Appreciate that. Hincapi. Midfield. Ed's come in with a... Well, Ed, you got to give me what in midfield? You want a creative player? Do you want a box-to-box? Do you want a sitting holding player? What is it? I can already guess what it'll be, but I want to know what you think. Victor Osman is not accepting Al Ahly proposal as a required important salary and release clause. Interesting. Hey. To be fair, if I was going to Saudi, I'd want a pretty decent wage, you know. Can we play the new Korean instead of Baby Powder Johnson? I don't know if that's an insult or not. I don't really get it. Mickey left back. Mickey centre half. Get me another left back instead. Keep him in there. It's like when people go, we should play Romero at 6, or we should play Porro at right wing. Nope. They're doing very well in their positions. Let's keep them in their positions. Let's work on actually strengthening the positions that you want to move them to. Left back Doughty or Mitchell will be all right. Mitchell's brilliant, but he's not leaving Palace. He's a week in, week out starter at Palace, and he's doing very, very well. I've been really impressed by Mitchell. I was a bit surprised he didn't get in the England squad. So there we go. Dicker, the centre half. Yeah, I've been told they might need to balance a bit. Roma are going to be good this year, obviously, De Rossi. I think they lost 2-0 yesterday at Empoli, at home to Empoli, I think. Like Mitchell from Palace, but he's a pure defender. Not sure he fits the system of playing inverted. Maatsen would have been a great signing. Davies retired at Tottenham. There's no point in selling him. He's an asset as he'll help the younger lot mature a bit and teach him a few things. Sneaky little Cancelo loan. I think Cancelo's going off to Saudi. Oh, my PS5 controller's running low on battery. That was the noise coming up. Decent left centre back. Caveat must have pace to replace Mickey van der Ven if injured. Angelino, good lord, that is rogue. Verratti's been off around. I'd jump at the great experience and play all 3 midfield positions. He'd be expensive though, wouldn't he, Verratti? I'm assuming because he's in Qatar, is he not? He's not even in Saudi, he's in Qatar. I feel like he's expensive for what he's offering. I mean, I know people go, but it's not your money. I'm like, yeah, come on. You know how this game works. I'm sorry, I'm more ambitious when you sign 2 players. Left back is its priority, left back as it stands. We have done enough to improve the first team. Solanke, Birdval, Gray, all are going to be playing a lot of first team football. 2 of those, by the way, improve the midfielder room massively, and we've improved the striker room with that. So I don't know. I don't agree as much on that. Also, we have squad restrictions when it comes to European football and things like that. So, if we are to sign 2 players, we're going to have a situation where if you want to sign 2, then one of them has to be Kyle Walker-Peters or Marcus Edwards. They'll have to be, if you want then to get as many people. Well, if you want quality of depth within your European squad, one of them will have to be those 2. Which I've always said, Walker-Peters over Edwards for me, just because of the flexibility that he can give you. Played about right wing and getting Santos Neymar. Yeah, be all right. I remember signing Santos Neymar on FIFA. I can't remember which year it was, for Celtic. And I played him up front. It was carnage. I caused all kinds of carnage. It was great. Chelsea, Liverpool are on the level, mate. Spurs will get rattled. You keep saying rattled. I don't understand what you mean by rattled. Because rattled means like they're living in here. Rattled means they're not going to beat us on the pitch. So I'm not too sure what you mean, Kevin. You could it's me, Andy. I'll take a left back at this point. Well, Robert, we scarily agree on a lot, which I don't know if that's good or bad for one of us. So either I'm really smart and you're really stupid, or you're actually really smart and I'm really stupid and I've convinced you to be stupid with me. So I don't know how it's going to go, Robert, but we're somewhere in the middle. Otherwise, just give me Murillo. Murillo, yeah. It's gone quiet, isn't it? I thought they were going to sell Murillo. Destiny got too many mistakes in him. I'm not interested in hearing that. He's not got mistakes in him. And people are basing his last 2 performances as the precursor of what's going to happen. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to stick you, right? We're going to go give you quad surgery, quite invasive quad surgery. I'm then going to bring you back and make you go from 0 to 60 straight away, and we'll see how you guys perform. Because you'd go, well, that's not very fair. I need time to get going. You're like, well, then that's what Destiny needs. As much as these are Premier League footballers, they're also humans. So the expectations that you have for players who have had a long time injury, like Manor Solomon, my expectations are quite low because he's missed so much time and he needs time to get going. And then my expectations will come back up to where they were previous. It's like a Bentancur last season. People were going, nah, rubbish. Context. The guy came back from 2 massive injuries very, very early to help the team. He was never going to give you the Bentancur in Conte's 6-month season where he was good. If we get Bentancur fit, then my expectations will come back up. That's how I've always viewed it, right? I'm thinking about getting PS5 myself for years. Haven't done anything about it. Listen, I would recommend it if you're going to use it. If you're not going to use it enough, then don't bother. I use it a lot. Obviously, I create content and things like that via it. I wouldn't do that on a PS4, Ange would rather play Killers and 8 than trust Gray or Burval to him. Daniel, mate, we're 2 games in. Come on. We're 2 games in, mate. Jesus. We'll definitely sign a club-trained player by the end of the window. Well, like I said, goaltender, it'll be Kyle Walker-Peters or Marcus Edwards then. David Raum. Do you know why I love David Raum's name? It's just because he's such a quick left back. He is just, look, it's David Raum. Like it's a car. That's a low point for me. I don't know why I've just done that. Rattled equals smash. Rattled definitely does not equal smash, mate. Rattled means you're living in someone's head and you're causing them mental issues. Smashed is just smashed. They're very 2 different things. Have you ever watched a Brazilian Serie A match? I haven't. Although, there was something I saw. There was 2 players playing. They played for the same team, and they've just, I think, recently joined there. And everyone's like, "This is in the Brazilian league, and these 2 are playing." Can't remember who it was. We can go in for Ben Chilwell for rotation left back. Oh, good Lord, help me. Bear in mind, I absolutely slagged and dragged him through the mud when he played for England because I was like, I had to go from Destiny to this. It's a massive downgrade. Can't we find someone to loan till we get our ideal targets? Well, there's the potential, Guami. That's not a bad shout. That is that potential. I don't hate it. Even if Destiny did have mistakes in him, he's 21 and the good qualities outweigh the negatives. Not that he needs it, but give Destiny time if you genuinely think that he has mistakes in him. Yeah, he's so young. I never get Spurs fans. This is what I never get. We think we're Man City. That's how I genuinely think. I think a lot of our fans look at it. And they go, well, I know, I just want success. I demand success. It's like, yeah, but look how many like billions they've spent, right? Just under Pep, right? That's Pep, by the way. Best coach in the league. Best coach in the world, probably at the moment. Look at the Spurs coaches that we've had. Mourinho, trajectory-wise, falling off a cliff. Conte, same sort of thing, right? What Conte wasn't the same Conte that it was at like Chelsea. Nuno, Ryan Mason. So on top of that, Spurs also aren't going to spend that money. So you can't look at Man City and think that's where we're going to be. And then under Ange, well, we've had, in theory, only two full transfer windows. We still haven't completed this one. Obviously, it'll be a full third window in a few days' time. People going, well, Ange needs to do this now. Ange needs to do that. Ange needs to win the quadruple. It's like you're living in a cuckoo land. You should demand success, right? That's success for me is, do you, right? You look at like your last season, you compare it to this season. Have you improved? For example, right? If Spurs, this is hilarious. If Spurs went out in the same rounds they did in the FA Cup and the EFL Cup, let's say they go to the quarterfinals of the Europa League, but go get fourth, technically that's an improvement. That is success in theory, right? Now, a lot of people ignore the thumbs up. A lot of people wouldn't settle for that. And I have no issues in not settling for that. For me, it is improvement, but is it significant improvement? You know? So for me, you know, if you could look at, well, Spurs get top four and they're two solid, like EFL FA Cup runs, solid. You know, they go deep into them. And let's say they go to the semi-finals Europa League. You'd sit there and go, that's not bad. That's not bad. But there could be better. It could be more. We should demand more now. Now we've got this. Now we go again. We're going to get more. That's what I look at, you know? You only comment what you're seeing. We've only seen 2 new signings start. You can't blame me for that. Yeah, but Daniel, like, you're talking about an 18-year-old and a 19-year-old, right? You're talking about 2 games into a season. Just 2. What I would say is, mate, look at the bench. When literally last 2 games, look at the bench. Don't you look at the bench and go, God, there's actually players on there that can change a game. There's actually nice that we're bringing on players that we feel confident on when they come in, that we're going to get something from them. You can't play 24 players in one game. They're going to be loads of game time for everyone. I think we need both left centre back and left back to remain strong. Yeah, no, as much as I agree, but I was just saying, if we only got one position, like it is either a centre back or a left back, where would you be on that, you know? Prashy and Lang going to do a madness, a good madness. I'm glad you put the good part in there. We spent more than Man City over the last 4 years. We just spent it badly. Big Ange has shown already there's different formations in his mind. If we can go and get a result in Newcastle international break. Oh, hang on. International break. The confidence coming into North London, we mentioned. Yeah. If you go into an international break after a good report, like let's say, right, it was 2-2. It was an absolute burner of a game. It was a great game, right? You'd sit there and go, technically, it's actually an improvement on last season because we got thumped there last season. But, you know, you go, great game. It's one of those that could have gone either way. A point's fair. Even that's not bad. If you win it at St. James's Park, you're going to go into the international break full of confidence. Now, if you get thumped, brutal, you know? And just spent 420 million euros so far. Has he spent that on all of his own transfers? Or was some of those transfers preset already? Mate, we are toxic and delusional. Oh, yeah. Welcome to Spurs. What happened to your man, Dorg at left back? He's still my guy. He's still my guy, you know? But the news has gone quiet in general on him as well, not just for us. These silly numbers being thrown about are insane. He has 120 million quid net spend over 3 windows. If we sell Reguilón, that's 40 million window, which is very low. Well, there is potential. Well, numbers can get misskewed. I don't try and look at them too much. I try and, if like, when I was doing like how much money Spurs save on wages, I was like, it could be around this figure because we don't truly know, you know? Always a good balanced view, man. Appreciate it, Simon. Appreciate it, mate. Cole Cabiz would be an excellent sign. He should never left Spurs in the first place. Well, Højbjerg came in and added, you know, some value at the time. I think that was a deal I think everyone won in. Like Southampton obviously got Kyle Walker-Peters. You know, he's been a consistent starter for them. Højbjerg moved to us, added value for a little while, you know, under like the Mourinhos and Contes. I think all in all, solid, you know. Monday night versus Leicester and seeing quality there made me so happy. Yeah. Oh, do you know what? It was just seeing people come off the bench and me going, oh, these are actually good players. These are actually players I feel like could change this game. You know, obviously it didn't in the end, but you know what I mean. I sincerely think you want to lose your mate thinking we get better with Levy in charge. If Spurs can make top 10 this season, all top 10. Kevin, mate, come on. Let's not be like that. Love how people use this narrative that Ange only has one tactic when we play well against Man City in a 2-4-2-2 with Kula as a 9. Mate, he plays so many different formations, but when people go, he only plays this 4-3-3, it's just more of an agenda laziness that they don't see the bigger pictures. You know? Ange plays all sorts of formations. Feel like they're going after opportunistic buys, better depth players regardless of position. Hey, I've always said I'd rather a 7 out of 10 every single week that suits Ange Ball than a guy who's, one of the better players in the world who doesn't suit Ange Ball. It just makes no sense, It's when people go buy this player. It's like, but does he suit Ange Ball? And if they don't, then it just makes no sense. With good chance at St. James Park. Well, hopefully so. Hopefully so. Obviously, we'll do the preview on Saturday for it. So stay tuned for the Saturday preview because I'm looking forward to that one because obviously that's quite a contentious one due to last season. It happened, but I would go for Josh Williams, Esbrand, young player, not getting time from Pep, but could with Spurs homegrown athletic room to develop. Well, I mean, their academy is just bonkers, isn't it? The players they brought in just like the last few years, like Rico Lewis looks incredible this season. And people go, well, he's played against Ipswich. He also played away at Chelsea and was brilliant away at Chelsea. He should have scored against Ipswich, though. I would say he did fluff one. He should have scored. We still need an experienced left back to cover Van der Ven. Ideally, someone who's quick. Great show, by the way. Appreciate that, mate. And I do somewhat agree. A centre-back is needed. Will they take Mateus Nunez from City? So talented, I just don't know. That's a weird one. He's in a difficult situation now with obviously Kovacic has... he started the season really well, Kovacic. He was fantastic against Chelsea, Kovacic. You still got, obviously, in my opinion, at the moment, the best football player in the world in Rodri, who's obviously their starting 6. You still got Bernardo and KDB, who start in the midfield quite frequently. But now you've got Gundogan that's come back. He might be the odd guy out right now. But depth-wise, does you no harm to have him. In the 5 subs world of today's Premier League, you need 15 outstanding players minimum. There's no doubt we've strengthened. We definitely have strengthened. Some fans want to moan their way to a title. I think, Johnny, they expect success without putting in any hard work to get there, which makes me more worried about them as a day-to-day person. You got to go through the hard times to get there. Arsenal have done it. Liverpool's already done it. Man United have been going through it, and they've won things in that time. Spurs have kind of gone, well, we've got a stadium. We've been in the Champions League for ages, like been in Europe for ages. Ange is here now. Ange, right, you've had one season. I demand complete and utter success. Brother. I think he'll play 210s more often. I think Biss, Madders, and Kulu will cook. It'd be interesting. Does he go with that in harder games where maybe Spurs aren't going to dominate the possession? We play well against City with a backline of fullbacks, and we played 3-3. Well, yeah, that was a contentious decision in that game that we won't mention. But no, all in all, you couldn't have expected much more from that defense, So is Locatelli and Gomez dead? I don't think even Locatelli was truly ever one. But Gomez, yeah, there's nothing in Gomez right now. I was very worried going up against Everton with how we did against Leicester. Not that we did bad, but last season we really struggled with Everton. But winning in the way that we did, I'm so confident now. Yeah, I think Everton might be in trouble this season. I really do. Really, really do. The Brighton loss obviously was quite a big one. Then obviously going to Spurs and shipping another 4 goals. Concede 7 goals in 2 games. Oh, that's bloody brutal. Reguilón is improved. Yeah, Reguilón is solid. The depth is good because they're players with versatility. Yeah. I mean, and also they changed their system. They play the same, that you look at them on the pitch and you go, well, they're playing the same system. But then you watch them in game and they change 3 or 4 times their formation. Kovacic went off injured, right? And you're thinking, we've got Mateus Nunez on the bench, got Gundogan on the bench. Who are they going to bring on at 6? John Stones. Wow. You know what I mean? Thoughts on the Mopé tweet? What did he tweet? Oh, mate, I wasn't on Twitter yesterday. I was out all day at the wrestling, so I didn't actually see. Oh, Neil. Hang on. What did he tweet? I'm assuming it's the one about the abuse they were receiving yesterday. Imagine another job where it's normalized to get abused like this, hanging around at a train station to scream at men who are trying their best. Yeah, see what I mean? It looks pretty difficult over at Everton right now. They've got some good players, Everton. They have got some good players. They've got a great coach in Sean Dyche for what they're trying to, in theory, trying to survive in the Premier League. They had a great season last year. If you don't deduct them those points, I think they finished like 12th. They had a good season when you think of everything considered. But they talk about all these new different owners and stuff like that. Everton, it's just brutal. I don't have a bad thing to say about Everton in terms of like them as a club. You know what I mean? I just feel for them. They had a brief period where they had an owner that spent money. They overdid it, which, whose mistake is that is another question. But from then on, you're like, the fans are just getting kicked pillar to post, Rosario Central versus Niels Obo is nice. I think he might. Kulu has that dog in him and he does defensive work. Plus, he loves to create with Madders. Also, it gives Madders more space to create and not man mark so much. True. Also, like, if the six plays well, it just frees up the midfield so much more. If the six can play well and get the ball to him quickly on the turn, you're then bringing in the Odebears and the Sonnies and, whoever up front. Pepper's too good. Instead of buying left back, he changed his tactic to buy and said, well, I mean, he has spent like 400 million on his defense. You'd think the defense would be good by now, Everton fall from grace. Yeah, it must be studied. But anyway, thank you all so much for joining me this morning. Enjoy the rest of your afternoons. I may be back later. We will see. I'm not too sure right now. Obviously, if there's breaking news, we may have to go, obviously, live. But yes, enjoy the rest of your afternoons because we're about to hit the afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your evenings if you're out in Australia. I will speak to you all definitely tomorrow, if not later. Anyway, enjoy it. And I'll speak to you all soon. Peace.